A lot of us here on the channel and people in the community love the depth and immersive nature of MMOs as they allow us to create, build, and go out on amazing adventures either solo or with friends. So when a new good-looking MMO is shown, we take great interest in it and hope for the best when it comes to the release, even though history has taught us otherwise with most MMOs releasing and not being up to scratch. But today we're going to talk about an MMO that has a ton of potential to be good, as it has a bunch of really cool looking gameplay mechanics that fans of MMOs have been looking for. Today we're talking about Throne and Liberty, and we have previously spoken about this game in depth before, and in that previous video we said we hope to get confirmation of the game getting a Western release. Well, today I'm happy to say that the game will be published in Japan and in the West, so let's go through the details and give you a little recap of this MMO, because if you're a fan of MMORPGs, this is one you 100% want to keep your eye on. Throne and Liberty is a fantasy-based MMO, and I tend to really love fantasy games, so it works quite well for me, but it would be interesting to know what your preferred setting for an MMO is. Do you prefer sci-fi, fantasy, or something else? Tell us in the comments down below. And if you enjoy this video, make sure to click like down below to show support because it really does help. And subscribe so you don't miss out on the latest gaming news from us here on the channel. So of course, the good news is that we are getting Throne and Liberty in the West. But a bit of information that may come as bad news for some of you, as we weren't too happy about it, is who the publisher would be, because yes, that's right, Amazon Game Studios will be publishing Throne and Liberty in the West for us, simply because they have reached an agreement with NC Soft for the publishing rights across North America, South America, Europe, and Japan. It is a little weird to see that NC Soft didn't opt to publish this game themselves in the West, as they have done it before with games like Guild Wars 2, Aeon, and Blade and Soul. But I suppose with Amazon being a leading company in web services, they probably felt that they would benefit from using them and licensing the game to Amazon. Here's what the NC Soft official statement was about the partnership. Amazon Games is one of the most reliable partners for publishing massive live service games globally, with proven expertise in operations, localization, marketing, and community support. Well, we also got confirmation that the game won't just be releasing on PC, but also consoles too. Throne and Liberty is releasing across both PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S later this year. With it releasing so soon, it will probably mean that there won't be too long until we can get our hands on it, and they will probably need to do a beta test before launch to iron out any issues. So now that we know Throne and Liberty is coming to the West, this may be the first time you're hearing about it. So here's a recap of exactly what is Throne and Liberty. It's an MMORPG developed by NC Soft, the makers of Guild Wars and the Lineage series, which are huge games in their own right. The game actually was being developed originally as Lineage 3, a next-gen version of the Lineage series, but they felt there was enough new stuff that it deserved its own new IP, thus it became Throne and Liberty. We have seen some snippets of footage as to what the game looked like before it became Throne and Liberty in trailers, as the project was in development for quite a few years. The main aim of the game is to make it a more modern MMO and less monotonous, as they're trying to make the world as varied as possible. Throne and Liberty is a unique MMORPG that promises to put a strong emphasis on story-driven gameplay. The decisions that we as players will make will have a direct impact on how they view the game world. And NC Soft is also dedicated to creating objectives for players to pursue beyond the traditional power creep. The dev team have planned for a wide range of collaborative challenges and content, especially in the form of boss fights that requires players to work together to succeed. To me, this sounds like they might expand on the idea of the world bosses from Guild Wars 2. One of the core gameplay mechanics that NC Soft is focusing on is the ability for players to transform into animals. This feature will allow players to explore the open world more freely and reduce the number of fast travel points that will be needed. So with the ability to change into various animals, players will also be able to swim, fly, or run around at a rapid pace across the game world. Additionally, players can actually carry other players while in an animal form, which will add a unique cooperative element to the game. On top of all of this, Throne and Liberty are promising to develop quite the immersive game world. There's going to be a dynamic weather system and a day-night cycle that's meant to have direct impact on gameplay. For example, players may need to navigate through foggy environments or adapt to other types of weather conditions in order to meet their objectives. Overall, Throne and Liberty seems to be like a game that will provide players with a rich and exciting gameplay experience, but only time will tell. I know a lot of you are probably upset about Amazon being the publishers here, as they don't exactly have the greatest track record with their recent game releases. But I feel like in the grand scheme of things, it could be good that they are publishing this game, as normally we wouldn't even be able to play them without jumping through a bunch of hoops. If you think about it, games like Lost Ark were struggling to find Western publishers for years, before finally being taken up by Amazon Games. So hopefully they've learnt their lessons from games like New World and Lost Ark, and will have a more stable launch with more available regions, but again, only time will tell. So next, we've actually rounded together the trailers for Throne and Liberty so you can see more of the game in action for yourself. But we'd love to know what game trailers you've been watching recently and what's got you excited. So tell us down below in the comments. And for now, you can check out this game here in the trailers.